Welcome to Talking Mopars, episode number 162. This was another live stream that I recorded on Thursday night with my friends from the Motley crew of Mopars, Matt Monroe from the Big Blocks Garage podcast, and Blake Anderman from Sublime Technologies, formerly DIY Hemi. So without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I'm your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
What's happening, guys? It's Thursday night. Normally, it's not very often I do a weekday live, but there's a special fun announcement that I want to bring to the table. As you guys know, Muscle Cars at the Strip is coming to Las Vegas March 17th through the 19th at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and somehow Project Cars at the Strip became a thing, and now it's a fun little sideshow in the show field at at Muscle Cars at the Strip. And I'm super excited about it. I just got to get my car ready and done. And I know so many people that are going to be at this event. I'm really excited about it. But one thing that I'm more excited about than anything is getting all my friends together in one place. And there was one guy who wasn't going to make it to Matt's. And that's this gentleman right here. But what's the story, Matt? What's happening?
I'm gonna make it happen. We're doing it.
Yes.
Vegas, baby.
So for the first time ever, so Matt, myself, and Blake from Sublime Technologies, formerly DIY Hemi, have met at Holly's Moparty one time, and we didn't have Johnny Mopar there, and that was a bummer because we're the Motley crew of Mopars, and we've been trying to find an event that we can all get together and hang out. And this year, Blake reached out to me and he decided he was going to go. So we're going to get a tent for him. I think we're going to have a booth for him. I'm going to be participating with Johnny Mopar in Project Cars at the Strip. And, that left one member of the Motley crew of Mopars who's going to be all alone in Arkansas. And we just couldn't let that happen. So Matt decided, you know what? Let's make it happen. So we're all going to be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, March 17th through the 19th for Muscle Cars at the Strip. And I couldn't be more excited. Not just the Motley crew of Mopars is going to be there, but so many of my other friends. It is going to be, Phil, I don't know if you're listening to this. Phil is the organizer of Muscle Cars at the Strip. But, don't be mad if there's a giant circle of people and we're just having a party at the wildest muscle car party in the West, and that's Muscle Cars at the Strip.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's heard, but I'm quite the party animal.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be the first time that we've had all the members of the Motley crew of Mopars there, and then the amount of people that I've been talking to that are going to show up. It's hard enough going around to events and talking to all your friends because you want to stop and talk to everybody that you know or the people that you haven't met that are like, oh, hey, there's going to be so many people. Thankfully, we're renting an RV and we're going to be staying on site. I even invited my dad. My dad's never been to an event with me. And I was like, Pops, on a little bit of a bummer note, my mom died at the beginning of last year on my dad's birthday, nonetheless. And, I couldn't help but think, man, life's pretty short. And my dad really hasn't been out on the road with me to any of these events to see what I do out there, to meet all my friends. And, he's been on the podcast. I had him on an episode of Direct Connections. So I was like, you know what better event to drag my dad out to than Muscle Cars at the Strip. So it's going to be with my dad, all my friends. It's going to be insane. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And now we got Matt on board. So we're going to be content creating machines. Hey, Matt, remember, my phone was actually overheating in Vegas last year, so it kept dying on me. So we're gonna have GoPros. We're gonna have so many GoPros.
GoPros galore. I'm gonna be doing. Man, I think really my goal for going is, because obviously out of the Motley Crew Mopars, I am the wannabe media guru and whatnot. So I'll be doing my damnedest because you're competing in project cars at the Strip. So my goal is to try to document as much of that for you, so you can just focus on doing the event without having to worry about trying to get too much.
Yeah.
I really want to get a lot of stuff with Blake for Sublime while he's working his booth. Like I've said many a times, I don't mind being in front of the camera, but I feel like I'm a better service to the Motley Crew Mopars as the guy behind the camera.
No, and that's, I told my dad, I was like, I hope you're, my dad was the type of dad who always had the, like back in the 80s, he had the giant shoulder cam. So he's like walking around with this giant shoulder cam, and then eventually it became the camcorder, and he hasn't been a cameraman for a long time. So I was like, Pops, I'm going to show you how to run the GoPro, and you're going to be like my shadow. But one thing that I don't want to say more excited, but one thing I'm really excited for from the content side that's separate from Muscle Cars at the Strip, and I want to make that clear, is a cruise that we're working on. So what we're planning, and it's me and the whole gang of my friends, we want to get as many of the project cars and whoever else shows up as possible. We want to get everybody on Friday night to leave Las Vegas Motor Speedway in our cars and cruise the Strip. So it's going to be 2 legs. I'm working on, with the help of my buddy Matt from Rolling Heavy Magazine. He has some connections in Las Vegas that are close to Count's Customs, which is the TV show. I'm sure you guys have seen it with Danny Coker and stuff. He knows somebody who owns a bar in Las Vegas. So what we're going to do is the first leg is going to be down the Strip heading south. We're going to break off, go to this bar, hang out for a little bit. No drinking and driving. And we're going to get everybody met up, have a good time. And then we're going to turn around and head back down the other side of the Strip, north, back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But the idea of a bunch of muscle cars, probably a couple vans, some trucks, invading the Strip in Las Vegas sounds like so much fun to me. So
I'm going to put this out there. I volunteer as tribute to drive your Roadrunner if you get too drunk.
Okay.
Twist my arm.
I promise you right now, if I'm driving that Roadrunner and we stop at a bar, I will not be getting drunk. Because, oh man. And you don't want me to be drunk backseat driving. Like, Matt, floor it, Matt. Feel the power. Feel the power.
Feel the power. Why are you getting so close? 40 feet away.
You have to remember I'm a trainer at work. So
yeah,
I'm used to backseat driving. Joe's Mopar Mess in the house. What's up, Joe? What's up, Dutch? What is going on here? Oh God, we've got a troll. We've got a bot troll.
Got us a bot.
We got Joe says, I called Matt's today about registering. If you register for the autocross, you can park your camper and your vehicle transport for free. What a great deal. I agree. And let's just block her.
I got rid of her.
Not real. Oh, good. Cole says, I wish I had the cash to bring the Ratty 70 CUDA. Man, that would be awesome, dude. Dutch guys, I've been taking videos, but because there's such little progress until I get the parts, they're really not as action packed as I'd like. So they won't be out until, plus there's a little mystery in, how much is it getting done? Is the car going to get done? And I haven't gotten a lot done yet because I'm waiting for a bunch of parts, but they're on the way. So as soon as that happens, we're going to crank out some stuff. Mopar Matty in the house. What's popping, dude? We're just hanging out. But yeah, Muscle Cars of the Strip's going to be a fun event. After that, I really wanted to attend as many events as possible this year. The problem was with my job, it was hard to get that vacation time, but things may be changing with that. I may be making a career change and it'll allow me to have a little bit more free time to go to events around the country. So it just comes down to money. I really wanted to go to Carlisle this year. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but what I can tell you is March 17th through the 19th, we're going to be at Muscle Cars at the Strip. The next time you're going to see the Motley crew of Mopars, at least 3 of us, is going to be, if I remember the dates right, it's going to be Holly's Mo Party. And do you remember the dates for that, Matt? It's like the 17th or something like that.
It's like the 5th. Hold on. I got my phone right here. I have it saved in my phone. Because I already asked for it off. Let's see here. Scroll. It will be the 15th through the 17th.
Okay, 15th through the 17th.
Yeah.
We're going to Mo Party. It'll be me, Matt, and Blake. After that, I believe is Duct Tape Drags. I'd like to make that event again. I like going to the West Coast events too, and I don't get to too many of them. So that was a lot of fun last year, and there was a lot of people there that I knew. And it's sometimes that event was fun for me because I went with the intention just to have a good time and not really focus on the content, which was cool. So that was on the list too this year. And then it's not set in stone yet, but I'm going to try to. I've been invited to the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. So if I can make that happen, I want to make that happen. Carlisle, I really want to make happen. I'm just not sure if I can squeeze it in. It just depends on what happens in the next few months. First and foremost, I got a car to get done, and I'm having some issues right now because the engine was set in the engine bay, and there were some things that I never checked. And technically, it's just sitting there because only a couple bolts are holding the damn thing in. So I was like, I'm glad I checked that. So right now, actually before dinner tonight, I was out there just going through miscellaneous bolts and stuff in the engine, but just tightening everything and seeing what if anything's loose, because I'm paranoid now.
Yeah.
I'm like, the thing wasn't even, some of the bolts were just sitting in there, basically just holding the engine in place. And I was going to check everything out anyway, but just seeing that, I was like, okay, if I went to the trouble of dropping an engine in, I probably would have bolted it up just to make sure, we don't have to worry about that. Yeah. So now that I see that it's really not bolted up, I'm going through some stuff, and I found a couple loose things, and I don't know what the hell's going on with the brakes and suspension, but I ordered a front end rebuild kit. I'm going to order brakes. I got to get the fuel tank in. I got the exhaust and headers coming. I decided against side pipes for a couple different reasons, but it was going to have side pipes. It was going to be a badass street machine, but that's okay. Exhaust will work for me. I'm not too worried about it, but Carlisle, it's not going to be easy. This is the biggest project I'm taking on in the shortest amount of time. So if I can pull this off, for me, it's going to be an accomplishment. I know for most of my friends, they'd be like, "Oh, that's easy stuff. I could have that done in one weekend." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Good for you, dude. Fly out."
Bro, this is a safe place. We both know.
Well, the thing is, Matt, is I'm notorious. I've set the tone, and people know that when I get these projects, I work on them for a little tiny bit. And then I go down the road, and the Roadrunner almost went down the road. I'm so glad that didn't happen.
I mean, I already told you I was going to happen as soon as you landed in Arkansas.
I didn't want to get beat up by Matt. Matt really likes the Roadrunner, and he doesn't want me to sell it.
I mean, I'm not saying the entire state would have been filled with uppercut, but
so I just need to prove it to myself and the people that watch what I do. There's only so many times you can get away with buying a car, getting all pumped up about it, and then selling it off. You know what I mean? So this one, I told myself once I pulled it down and said, all right, we're not selling or trading this thing right now until it's absolutely done. And then I'll see if I fall in love with it. I'm not exactly in love with the car yet. I love the car. I'm not in love with the car. I've loved all my Mopars, but the Mr. Norm truck was the hardest one to let go. And I let it go for this Roadrunner. So I'm like, all right, Roadrunner, I got to fall in love with you soon, because
you better razzle dazzle me right now,
man. But Patrick Hall, he's got an awesome Dodge truck. I hope you're really not selling that thing, dude. I wish I had the money to buy it. That thing's sick. It's first gen, slammed. He says he hasn't missed a single Duct Tape Drags. Loves that event. It's a cool event. And secret time. Some friends of mine and I are trying to figure out how to organize our own duct tape style event. More news on that later on down the road. It's very possible. There's just a lot of moving parts when you organize an event. It won't be anything crazy like Muscle Cars at the Strip or Holly's Mo Party, but it'll definitely be fun. It's just a matter of getting it. Organizing an event is not as easy as some people make it seem. That's for damn sure. In high school, my senior project was to organize a car show, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Cole says, this is the first live I've tuned into. I didn't know how y'all stay up. Man, it's rough, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I get up early in the morning too.
It's called dedication and the grind.
The grind. Yes. Yes. We embrace the grind and we're dedicated to it. There's many weeknights where I'm up late and I'm just like, maybe I should go live. And then I'm like, no one's going to watch it. You know what I mean?
I mean, like Saturday, good God, we sat down at 9:00 my time.
Yeah.
Did our other show.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did one of these. And we didn't get done. We sat down at 9 my time, and we finished at 3 a.m. my time.
Well, we were talking business with Blake for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and then we went live.
I mean, I understand, but I'm just saying, like we were locked in, getting stuff done for a while.
100%. And Dutch says you got to drive a car before you love it. I agree to a certain extent, because the first time I saw the Mr. Norm truck, I was in love with it and I wanted it, but I never thought I'd have it. Then I got it. And the love never wore off. I remember I have a video. I don't know if I ever shared this one. It was a really short clip. I was on my way to the guy's house, to Pete's house, and I was on the freeway, and the truck was just singing, window down, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, God, that thing sounds good. And I turned on the phone, and I was like, man, I'm gonna miss this, because I something inside my mind said, if the Roadrunner was everything he said it was, I was gonna make the trade. So I stomped on it and I just listened to it and I was like, that might be the last time I ever do that. And it was, and I have it on video. So I need to look at it again because I haven't watched it since I got rid of the car. But I agree with you too. I don't think I'll love this Roadrunner until I get behind the wheel, fire it up, go out for a cruise and just let it sing to me, you know? So we'll see. It was harder picking an exhaust system for that thing than I've ever done before. So that'll be a fun video to, because I really, you know, speaking of content on that car, I really, really want to just save all the content and create one video, start to finish, beginning to end. That way there's no waiting for the outcome. There's watch the video and you'll see everything that happened and you'll hear it fire up for the first time. And then we can talk about everything that I did to it. So
I think that would be the best way to do the video. Just because really everybody knows what the car looks like.
Yeah.
Folks know you're working on it. I don't, just from a director standpoint, man, let suspense build and release the video during Matt's. I mean, that's just my opinion.
No, that would be fun. I like knowing that there's a lot of people. I know that a lot of people I know are like, he's not going to get that car done. And if I fail, I'll still put out the video and I'll be like, well, big fail. The car's going to Matt's, whether it's done or not. If I disqualify myself out and just push the car in, it's going there. I promise people would be there. It's going to be there. So, Smoke Wrench Garage, it was a pretty sweet truck, man. I do miss it. And if you guys want a truck, I think Patrick's selling his. Yeah, his truck is it's clean. My God, is that truck clean? You know, I love a patina truck. I wouldn't classify that thing as patina. It is OG clean. And, you know, sometimes the OG clean where you're like, wow, is that factory paint? Like, Patrick, has that thing ever been painted? It looks, every time I see it, I'm like, this is a nice truck. Nice truck. Worth I forget what you're asking, but I remember seeing it. I go, that's worth every penny. But I'm super biased with nice Dodge trucks, you know.
Well, I mean, you gotta be. Lord knows I can be.
Hell yeah, Patrick! Another friend that's gonna be at Matt's. Look at that.
Shoot, yes.
Oh yeah. So we'll get video on that thing because that truck is badass, man. Yeah, definitely. One of the nicer first gens. There's just something to be said about a clean first gen for me. Any clean Dodge truck, really, and patina, beaters, I love them all. But when I see a really clean one, that where you look at it and you go, that's had a good life. You know what I mean? It wasn't pulled out of a field or something. You're like, damn, somebody took care of that thing.
Man, did I ever show you my 86?
No.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
had
didn't.
I had an 86 W250 for a while.
You've told me about it. I've never seen it.
I love it. Let me see if I can find a photo. I'll send it to you while we're
Okay.
talking. But
And hold on a second, Matt.
go
For
ahead.
those of you guys that are going to Muscle Cars of the Strip, it's important that we keep sharing details for the event with all our people, just because we want this to be a hell of a party. And it's such a big, I mean, and to be transparent, you know, I'm working really close with the creator, Phil. And that event, if you guys knew that what goes into holding an event at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's insane. I don't know how he does it, but it's a situation where the crowd has to come. If the crowd isn't there, you know, there's so much more money than I make in a year, and I make pretty good money, is what it takes to get that event going. And that's just getting it going. There's so much involved. So the more people we get there, the better. And the more people, the funner it's going to be. I've been talking to Phil, and I told him about my experience at Duct Tape and how every night after, you know, activities and festivities, there's a party, there's a huge bonfire party, and everybody hangs out and talks cars and just has a great time. I was like, we need that at Matt's. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to get an RV. So we're hoping we can get a group of RVs together and just, you know, have a good time. You know, aside from the cruise down the strip, that's the only time I really plan on leaving the track that weekend, just for that cruise. So it's going to be a hell of a time.
So speaking of trucks and badass things with trucks,
what you got?
One of the opportunities to see the Motley Crew Mopars doing our thing is I'm going to run Chief down to Blake, and we're going to, Chris is planning on coming.
I want to surprise him and just knock on the door one night.
Yeah, I mean, just surprise us. But I'm going to run the Chief, my 69 swept line down, and we're going to live stream Hemi swapping that truck in a weekend.
It's going to be amazing, and I'm going to do everything I can to be down there and be part of it. But the idea to live stream the entire time is awesome.
Dude, I'm pumped about it, because I mean, really, what my goal is I want to showcase how easy it is to do these swaps, because everybody's like, oh, everybody always sings the praises of these LS swaps, but nobody's talking about how easy these Hemi swaps are just as easy now, thanks to guys like Blake making these products like these standalone harnesses, and everything else. So I mean, the goal is we're going to showcase that if you and your buddy have a decent prep game, you can get this done in a weekend and have a running rig.
No, 100%. And I see a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, I know that guys have gone live to do swaps and stuff and work on their cars. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go live on a Hemi swap. That'll be fun. You know, I'm not hoping anything bad happens, but if you guys do run into an issue, it's going to be fun seeing it resolved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean,
things like that.
I don't plan on turning it off unless we're taking a nap.
Yeah. It's going to be as real as it gets. You know, no editing, no BS. It's live. Yeah,
we're just going.
I mean, be careful with the gasoline. I'll say that. Definitely have your safety equipment.
Came in like a fireball.
For those of you that don't know, Blake told a story on the show about how he set himself on fire accidentally. Blake is like a super safe guy, and this is just a freak accident. He burned half his body with gasoline and had to do a stop, drop, and roll in the grass and beat his face into the ground to put the fire out. Blake was supposed to be here. He's in South Carolina for work, and I think he passed out. I think he fell asleep. So Blake,
he's a little ahead of us.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I think it's awesome that you listen to the podcast while working on a 70 Challenger. I love hearing that kind of stuff. That awesome.
Is actually pretty dope.
Send me a PM with pictures of it. Tell me the story, dude. We'll share it on the podcast. That'll be fun. It would be, Paulie, it would be an awesome live.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, I have to show up to that, you know, even if it's late and I'm like, it's the middle of the night, they're passed out and it's like, Hey, I'm here for the Hemi swap.
Like, I mean, I told Blake I'm bringing down an air mattress just that way it's setting up in the office in his garage, just so we can take naps as we go.
Could you imagine? This would be a complete dickhead move, but could you imagine you hear like whoop whoop, and you open the garage door and there's a fire truck and I'm on it. I'm like, just in case, just wanted to be safe. Just want to make sure Blake's safe. Oh, I'm just kidding, Blake. But yeah, man. Let's plug Blake a little bit here. Blake, formerly DIY Hemi, been my friend for a few years now. I remember the first time I heard him talk on a podcast, it was with Rob Kibbe on the Muscle Car Place. And listening to the guy talk, I was like, this guy Blake sounds pretty cool. And I was like, if I ever start a podcast, because I was like, right at the time where I was thinking about it, I was like, I would love to get him on the show and talk about the modern Hemi swaps and stuff, because I was just learning about him. And I found out about him through that show. And then I looked at his website and I was like, wow, this guy's really getting into this DIY Hemi stuff. And without getting into too much detail, he had to rebrand. So now DIY Hemi is Sublime Technologies on social media. So if you could do me a favor, if you don't follow my friend Blake, go check out his content. DIYHemi.com is still live. And Blake is really good with tech when it comes to modern Hemi swaps and stuff. And I know that it's kind of a subject of contention, modern Hemis and classic Mopars. I'm not against it at all. I think it's great. I think there's room for modern Hemis and big blocks and all that fun stuff. I'm an equal opportunity Mopar enthusiast, like I've said before. So,
I mean, you just gotta love everything for what it is and just appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've talked about it before. I really want to. I just talked to you guys about it today, and I've mentioned it on this podcast. I would love, and I think it could potentially be a disaster going down the track, but I would love to have a 68 Dart super stock tribute that is a 100% nod to the original, with the exception of one thing: a modern Hemi inside it instead of Gen 3, and just see, or instead of the 426 Gen 2, and just see what it would do in comparison. Exact same setup. I'm curious.
All right, let's see if this shows up. This is when I had both Rams for a moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good old little 86.
Hell yeah.
Had a 360 in it. I loved that thing, man. I regret getting rid of it.
As much as I want another tin grill, you know what? I keep seeing them pop up, and I really want one. I had a second gen 2500 with a Cummins.
Yeah.
But I really want an SST or one of the Indy Pace trucks, a second gen.
Okay.
Two-wheel drive. I think they're really cool. One showed up in Canada, and when I had $5,000 on me before I bought all the parts for the Roadrunner, I was like, oh man, how often are you going to come across one of those? And I was like, no, buy parts. I immediately ordered like $4,000 worth of parts. I was like, we can't be doing this. As soon as I had that cash, I was already looking at other shit to buy. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So now all the money's gone. You guys will be happy to know that all the money for the van that I sold is now gone, and it is in the Roadrunner. But I keep getting email messages about things that are back ordered, and it's scaring me. But we're still pushing. We're still pushing forward. Yeah. So, quick update on the Roadrunner. I guess the parts are on the way, and I'm doing the little things here and there that I can. I got to pull the dash out because I ordered a whole new under dash harness. I want the car to be rewired from the front to the back.
There you go.
Yeah.
My dude, how sweet were those little oh, that is pretty cool.
Dutch guy says my local junkyard has 2 SSTs they use to store drive shafts. Can you get anything off of them? What shape are they in? I imagine they're piles of crap.
What about those little did you see those little body hangers? The little welding?
Yes.
Dude, how dope is that? I've never seen those.
You've never seen them?
No,
they're great because when you sit there and spot weld, it keeps everything even and in line, and you pull them off after your spot welds, and then you can go back and.
Do you realize the biggest thing that held up my Duster was I didn't know how I was gonna knock out the rear quarters?
Oh, no shit.
Yes, and I did not know about those.
You know how I discovered them. When I had my Dart, I was looking at stuff to take care of. It had the side molding on it, so it had holes right on the body line all the way down.
Yeah.
So I went on Eastwood, and I was just looking at whatever I could find to put on the back side to fill in, and then I would have to obviously body work because it's right on the body line.
Yeah.
I was looking at stuff and I saw those and I was like, what the hell are those? And I was like, that's genius. Because I'm not a body or paint guy. So I'm like,
Dude,
oh, okay, now I get how they hang quarters and stuff. That's
do,
pretty cool.
do you know how much more motivated I am on my duster after seeing that this morning? That's what brought it to a halt. Because I was
Yeah.
like, well, shit, how am I going to do the quarters? Because I cut them off without thinking about that.
Well, now you know.
Now I know.
It's a great way. As long as all your cuts are right and your panel is lined up good, you got that little hairline.
Yeah.
Use those to line it up, and go get your spot welds in there. Joe's Mopar Mess says, Chris, who did you buy your front suspension kit from? Classic Industries was having a huge sale, 20% off everything, and I probably saved over $200 on the parts order that I put in, maybe even more. It was so much because I have friends in the parts business, and I had a friend and I sent him a list of a bunch of stuff that I needed. And unfortunately, he just couldn't match the sale that I had. And it was almost an impulse buy because I wanted to see how much it was all going to cost. And I looked through it and I was like, let's see how much the 20% off was. And it was basically like getting a free front end kit, because the one I bought, it's just a factory front end kit, because I have, if I keep the Roadrunner, I have some special plans for it. And the whole suspension is going to have to be redone for it. So, because it involves a Gen 3 Hemi, and I would want to modernize the suspension. So I want to have a street machine for a little bit, but I just got a factory style front end, nothing special. Because at the time I was on a huge budget, dumped all the money, all $5,000, and I was like, okay, I still need a bunch of stuff. And then Facebook finally, for those of you that know, I've been going through some issues with Facebook paying me money, and we finally, after 6 months, got the problem on my payout account fixed. So hopefully I'll get the rest of that money. If I get the rest of the money, the Roadrunner shouldn't be an issue, because if it comes down to it, I'll start flying my friends out and we'll do a garage squad episode. It just all bang it out. I have local friends that are willing to help me, but why not bring in the cavalry? Bummer.
That's sad.
Yeah, those SST, those second gens are, man, they can be rusted pieces of crap. I really like them. They're my second let me make sure I'm not speaking out of line. I would say that the second gen 2-wheel drive short beds are my favorite truck aside from my tin grills. Yes, Clecos.
Yeah.
That's what they're called.
Yeah. I'd never heard of them.
No.
I saw that video this morning. I was like, son of a bitch.
Wait a second. Hold on.
No, I think. Oh wait, no, it's butt weld clamps.
They're butt weld clamps. My bad. Yeah. Clecos are good too. I got my terminology fucked up there for a second. Both of those are great tools that I've seen used to do some, because when you don't come from that world and you're like, how do these guys do that shit? Yeah. And then you see tools like that being used. Really, really good stuff.
I mean, let's be real. Dusters have an offensive amount of body lines.
Yeah. Dutch guys, I don't know about 18s. That's one thing I haven't thought about, is when the Roadrunner gets modernized, what I would do to it, because I really don't want to put a modern wheel on it. I want something classic. I like the big rallies.
Yeah.
I think it either goes 17s or 20s, and I really don't want 20s on that thing. 17s are about right, but I don't know. I haven't decided that far. It would be cool. I just don't want to, I know that some people love them, but I don't like when too modern of a wheel is put on. It's just not my style. I don't like too modern of a wheel. I do like I've seen big slots. I think American Racing makes them, but I don't think that would look good. I think the slots that are on it right now look good, but I haven't really decided. I'm hoping somebody comes out with something really cool. 17s are about right for me. I'd take 20s on a new Challenger. If I had a new Challenger, I'd probably put it on those 20-inch rallies. That'd be cool.
So I'm running, when I get the duster done, I'm running 18 by 8s in the back on the Foose Legends.
Okay.
And then 17 by 7s in the front.
Okay.
Give it a little bit of a
that'll give it a rake. I like that idea. I didn't think about running 17s in the front and 18s in the back.
Yeah.
Interesting. If I put something modern in it, I'll probably put the engine in it and then ride it around for a little bit. But, after seeing guys like Dutch guys going out there and hammering on his cars around corners and stuff, I'm like, it's fun going fast in a straight line, but the road to my house is like all farm country road. Believe it or not, I do live by farms, and it's really windy. And I have a lot of fun in any vehicle that I drive down that road. And I think I'm going to have fun in the Roadrunner, but there's a couple turns that kind of scare me to go too fast in a car like the Roadrunner. But if it was built right, I would have no problems just railing it, but we'll see. Dutch guys, did you really go with the Chevy wheel? Be honest. He's got a Super Coupe that he's been hammering the hell out of, just killing cones. And that looks like a lot of fun to me. It looks like fun because that's how, drag racing is cool. Like I said, I love drag racing first and foremost. But there's something to be said about those guys that can go out there and drive. You know what I mean? Tons of fun. Man, I wish you could get out to Vegas with that car, dude. The autocross is going to be cool. The jalopy cross.
Sorry, everybody.
It's all good, man. It's late. But yeah, some fun events coming up. I'm just super excited to have all my friends in one spot. It's going to be good. Let's see this Challenger.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, let me pull this up really quick.
Blake just woke up.
Did he really? That
Yes.
mother. Well, he's got the invite. Tell Blake to get in here.
My ass done fell asleep.
Polly's talking shit. When we were pulling the dumpster fire, I was driving. He let me drive his Durango. He's got the tow and go package. Awesome package for a Durango, by the way. And we're pulling my Roadrunner, and I got a little too close to the edge. Fucking ass into the trailer, dropped in. Boom! I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that was nuts. A muscle car that corners is so much more fun than drag, in my opinion. I'll have it at Moparty doing autocross. I'm Challenger hunting. That's going to be fun, dude. Autocross. Yeah, see, I keep watching it going, oh, yeah, that looks like fun. And then I go, well, yeah, it does. Go have some fun. Yeah.
Oh, snap. Dutch guys is going to be at Moparty?
Yeah.
Bro, we're going to have a hell of a time at Moparty.
Moparty's always fun. Even when it was just you and me, it was fun. I mean, we hung out with Brianna and Keaton.
Dude, we had a hell of a time at Moparty this year. Like we couldn't have got a better Airbnb.
No, absolutely not. I'm excited for. Oh, I got to get onto the talking Mopars. Yeah, this year Moparty. The thing I like about Moparty is that it keeps growing.
Yeah,
and that's key to these events living, and that's why I want to see muscle cars at the Strip succeed. I would love to have a project cars at the Strip too, except for. Let me just say this right now. I'm not accepting any more challenges. It puts too much pressure. I'm thinking to myself, if it wasn't for this challenge, I wouldn't have sold my van and I wouldn't have been under so much pressure. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to cut corners on this Roadrunner, but there's certain things that I've had to, not cut corners, but I've had to go cheap on a couple things that I know I'm going to replace down the line if it ever gets Hemi swapped, which I think it will. Dutch guy says, no, they're not Chevy wheels, Mopar bolt pattern, and takes a Mopar center cap. I'm driving the Super Coupe to Moparty, and the wife is trailing. Awesome, dude. The wheel standing Woody wagon.
That's great.
He's got this wagon that's got a 451 stroker in it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's his wife's car, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm just. For those of you that don't get a chance to travel to events around the country, I highly suggest that 1 year out of your life, you make it a point to just go boom, 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 and go to multiple events. It's so much fun.
I mean,
okay, I don't know how good we're going to be able to see these, but I want to share. Hold on a second.
I mean, we'll be at Mo Party. We probably won't be at No Name Nationals.
Who said No Name Nationals?
Smoke Wrench said he's torn between Mo Party or trying to qualify for No Name Nationals.
No Name. I do have some friends that are going to No Name Nationals. I think the event at its core is cool, and I think the one mistake that I would say is that giving people a threshold of 500 subscribers when there's guys that would, I mean, you're really going to turn a guy away at 450 if he's got a badass car. I think that's ridiculous, but you know, it wasn't my event, so it wasn't my place to say. And who am I to talk? Because I failed. I didn't even make it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I'm sorry to all my friends going to No Name Nationals. But if it's the same time as a Mo Party or even close to it, I can't go. Even anytime it's 1 week in between events, it's really, really freaking hard for me to make happen. Like duct tape drags and Mo Party. That was super hard to make happen, but
yeah, because you'd only been home for a few days.
Dude, it's rough. It's rough on the family, rough on my schedule. Now it's going to be a little bit different. I should be able to pull it off, but okay. Here we go. So let me see. This is Kyle. This is Kyle's Challenger that he works on while listening to the podcast. I think that's awesome. Hell yeah. Oh, are those the leather seats? Nice.
I dig it.
Hell yeah, 8 3/4. Ooh, Mickey Thompson, ET Streets on it. I like it. Hell yeah, dude.
I dig it.
Says it was his dad's car. He's been trying to put it together for a few months. That's cool, man. Hell yeah. That's really cool. I dig it.
Blake says he's going to splash some water on his face and jump in. I wonder if he fell asleep again.
Fell asleep in the bathroom. Hold on a second. I just want to look at something.
So I'm usually the fuddy-duddy in our group and only go to one event. It's Mo Party. So the fact I'm branching out, boys.
Here he is. He's awake, folks.
Buddy
Blake in the house. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys?
What's happening, man?
Oh.
We get you up all late in South Carolina or what?
No, it's all good, man. I fell asleep, totally crashed.
I was like, yeah, we're about to go live. And then I saw Blake turned off notifications. I was like, oh, no, he didn't.
No, I think I had it all propped up over there. Set a little alarm because I have to be up at 3 to get to the airport for my flight. So.
Oh, you're heading home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on.
Surprised he didn't hit us with a new phone. Who dis?
New phone. Who dis? Yeah. No. No, man, that was my bad. I totally fell asleep.
Real quick. Kyle, dude. It just occurred to me that's a RTSE. That's badass. That Challenger. This is a JS29. Very cool car. I dig it. Leather seats look nice and cushy. But thanks for listening to the show while you work on it, dude. That's cool. Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear. Blake, how excited are you that the Motley crew of Mopars is going to be together in Las Vegas of all places? My God.
Pumped. I'm very pumped. I think it's going to be good times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a content fest. I was telling Matt and the rest of the people in the chat, I was like, I cannot wait to cruise down the strip in a bunch of muscle cars.
Jeez. This is actually my first time to Vegas, so
it's my first time too.
Oh shit, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna definitely have to hit some partying a little bit, just a little bit. There's gonna be a party at the track, but I think I did. I did realize that it was your guys' first time. Oh man, first time in Vegas is always a good time.
I've just never been. I think I was supposed to go, 2 years ago? We were all supposed to go to SEMA together, I believe.
We were talking about SEMA, and then we were all just kind of like, nah.
I think only one of us made it.
Listen, don't be that guy.
Hey, be glad you didn't go, because I mean, no offense to the people that love SEMA and the SEMA people, I like you guys, but it was a lot of Jeeps, a lot of Broncos.
Well, I'm hearing more and more vendors keep pulling out.
Yeah, it's sad when people talk to me and they go, "What were some of the highlights of that event?" And I was like, honestly, the Electrolight, the satellite that had the Tesla swap. I was like, that car's a really nice car, and the guy did it really well, and I respect it. I respect the build. I wouldn't have done it. Like, he's got some balls doing that, and I can appreciate that. And the thing, I guess, hauls ass. I want to get him on the show. I want to talk to him, stir the pot a little bit. And Mike Coffey, how dare you, sir? But that might be another podcast I start down the line. You never know. Paulie, you should go to Vegas too. You should come to Vegas. Scott from Heaven's Mopars, he needs to go to Vegas. It's gonna be, there's gonna be so many people. Like, I don't think there's an event that I've been to where I've had so many people that I know and that I'm cool with that are gonna be at this event. It's gonna be ridiculous.
So let's talk about the event a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for years I've been hearing about what was Mopars at the Strip and now Muscle Cars at the Strip. I mean, it's a pretty storied event, man. It's been going on for a long time, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, it was. For years, I had seen Mopars at the Strip in the magazines and stuff, and it always. I've always been attracted to Vegas for whatever reason, and that event always looked like in a.
Can't put my finger on it, but just
I don't know. I don't know what it is about that. The stench of piss and vomit in the streets. I don't know what it is about Vegas, but I love it. The homeless guy, you talk to some of these homeless guys and it's sad because they're like, yeah, I came here 10 years ago, lost everything, and I guess I just stayed. It's like, damn, dude.
Do you know there's like a whole society of people living in the storm drains?
Oh yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have storm drains that are very large because when they have huge rainouts there, shit washes out. And these people, there's a whole city of people that live in these storm drains and stuff, and they don't, they pretty much come out to panhandle and stuff and then go back into their little city. Yeah, it's like a whole ecosystem down there.
Yeah, I mean, like there was one couple that they were talking to in the documentary.
The mole people.
Yeah,
the mole people.
Bro, like they had like a queen size bed, a full living room set up.
Yeah.
A full bedroom suite set up down there. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. So, like I said, I wasn't joking. Some people lost everything and ended up staying in Vegas homeless. How crazy is that? I wonder if anybody's like left their family, gone to Vegas for a weekend, just never came back. Like, I lost it all. My wife's gonna kill me.
I'm sure.
That's horrible. God. It's definitely a town that you can make some mistakes in. That's for sure. If you're not careful, like gambling and just doing wild shit. The last time I went, I think it was the last time. Was it? No, it was the first time I went to Vegas for Muscle Cars at the Strip. I was in my little Jeep rental. I think it was the Jeep rental car, but I got it on the live. I'm driving. All of a sudden I hear a commotion. I look over and two guys are beating each other's asses in the middle of the street. There's a whole gang around them. The Strip is wild at night. That's what's going to be crazy about driving a bunch of muscle cars down the Strip, because I think people are going to go nuts with their cameras and stuff, because how often do you see that? And Vegas is, it's not like it's never been done. People cruise the Strip all the time because there's a pretty sizable local Vegas car scene. So like I said, the more the merrier on that. I would love to see a bunch of people cruising, but the thing with muscle cars at the Strip is it had been Mopars at the Strip for so long that these giant vendors were starting to pull out because they started to lean more towards, why would we go to this one event that caters just to Mopars when we go to other events, and cater to everybody? So it was at that point where they had to kind of rebrand a little bit and open it up. And from what I understand, the Mopar crowd was pretty open-minded to it. They're like, yeah, bring everybody. Let's have a good time, And then COVID hits, and, it had been, from what I understand, when the name change was hard for a lot of people, because if it's not Mopars at the Strip, you don't associate, so there was a little bit of a brand shift there that you know, who knows? People are finicky, you know, but that's why, you know, we're trying to make this one really fun. And I mean, if the cars show up, the people from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, just from people reaching out to me telling me they're going, it's going to be, at least on my end, there's going to be a lot of people I know. I'm going to have a great time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that's why I keep telling people, you know, share content that Muscle Cars at the Strip posts about the event, that I post about the event. I think it's really important just to get as many people there as possible, preferably as many cars. But it's just, the more the merrier. You know, the more cars there are, the funner it is. You know, and it's Vegas too. Who with a badass car that is within driving distance or can afford to tow their vehicle or whatever, who wouldn't want to go cruise Las Vegas? You know what I mean? At least once in their life.
So I have a client out in I guess in Los Angeles area, and I mean, we've been on the phone a lot, just trying to help them going. You know, they had a couple of things. They have an early like a body Barracuda with a 6.4 swap, and we kind of you develop relationships with your followers and your customers over time.
Yeah.
And so finally, man, like 3 days ago, after a lot of back and forth and helping and everything, his car is like rock solid. It's going strong. So he's planning on taking the car, and he's like, man, I got to meet in person. Like, you know, I just want to shake your hand. I said, hey, that's great, man. Like, let's hang out, you know? So we have so many followers and clients in, I would say, like the Northeast and, you know, around, like, say, the Pennsylvania area, that stuff. And then we have this line of a good following in California that we never really get to make it out that way and meet with those people.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited about that because we're going to be on that side of North America and able to just hang out with the cool people on that end of the world, you know?
No, absolutely. It's one thing that's shown me to be so powerful about what I do, you know, because I don't sell parts or anything. I just talk. And the amount of people that come up to me and tell me they listen to the show, it really opened my eyes. Like, yeah, people listen to the show, you idiot. What do you think? Like, in my head, I'm like, because, you know, I'm sitting here sometimes, if I'm not live, I'm just talking into a microphone and it goes out to the world and I don't know who listens to it. Then I get guys like Kyle who tell me, yeah, I listen to the show when I'm working on my 70 Challenger. And for me, that's bad. I don't have a 70 Challenger. I think that's badass that people work on their Mopars and listen to the podcast. I think it's badass that you could pop a hood at any given Mopar show and see a DIY Hemi part or a Sublime Technologies part. You know, that kind of shit it just makes me feel like it motivates me to keep doing it, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Lots of fun.
There's, like I said, there's so much on that side of the U.S. that, I mean, I know California has its fair shares of pretty good shows, but
Yeah.
It's just an exciting opportunity to get on that end and get really embedded with the culture there and just hang out with some cool people, you know?
No, absolutely. Anytime you can get out to other parts of the country, I've found it to be super beneficial. And it seems like people get more on board when you actually meet them, shake their hand, and they go, "Oh, you're pretty cool in person too." Like, yeah, I guess so.
You know, that's my problem. I kind of have like diarrhea of the mouth, man. If I'm in person, I'm just like, "Hey, man, these people are cool. Let's hang out and just talk shop," you know?
Dude, there's something about when people are passionate about something and you get a bunch of those passionate people in one place, it gets rowdy, man. It gets to be so much fun. And there's one part of it that bums me out, and that's that I don't get to hang out with everybody for as long as I would like, because it's like, you got to keep it moving at these events. If you're there for content, you got to keep it moving. Matt and I experienced that a lot. I mean, how many times did we get stopped and we talked, and it was like one of us would like break off and like go film some content.
Like,
you kind of have, you got to double team it, right?
You have to, because I mean, you have, especially, I mean, it works well if you got a 2-man team. It works great if you got a 3 to 4 man team.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, we'd be cruising and somebody'd stop Chris. I didn't really get stopped at Mo Party. Like I don't have that big of a following, but I experienced it when I went and covered Sparks in the Ozarks. I had a lot of fans there. Apparently, my show is big with mini truckers.
Hell yeah.
So I had a lot of fans at this show because it's exclusively mini trucks, and so they're like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm at Big Block's garage. They're like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, what? And they go, you're Big Block? And I'm like, yeah. They go, dude, we love your show.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Man, my buddy was a mini trucker. Those shows are on a different level. They're like what their shows are. They remind me of like the old school Vanners. Like that's how they get down. They party.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've not been to any party like a mini trucker party.
Those guys throw the hell down. I would love to attend that show sometime. I would love to go. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. They had Georgia there this year. Got to meet her. She was dope.
If you ever want to feel so vanilla, so like, oh my God, like I'm not even on a level, right? Go to a mini truck show. Like, I feel like when I go, my cool points just like go so far down because these people are just like having a good time. Right? I feel like I'm the dude with the fanny pack and the New Balance shoes, right? And I'm just along for the ride. Like this is insane.
They're crazy.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I felt that way because I'm sitting there rocking my Carhartt long sleeve shirt and whatnot, and then they go, and then they're like, "You're a Big Block," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Here's a beer."
Oh, you know, they're cool. It's like I said, you feel like you're not cool enough.
Right. You don't. But I mean, I didn't even realize I had that much of a following. And like my buddies that got there before me, they're like, man, you got some fans. Like you need to get up here. And I'm like, I'm on my way. I had to work. So I get up there and they're just like, and I just kept running into people. I'd be going, we'd be talking, and I'd be taking some photos and stuff. And this show, I was so proud. I feel like it's the coolest picture I've ever taken and edited up of that off-road Beetle.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's my favorite. That is my favorite picture I've ever taken. As far as cars go, I love it.
I knew mini truckers were on a different level. Sorry to interrupt you, Matt, but 20 years ago, before like people with gauged ears was like, so prevalent, I was at a mini truck show at a high school, and this dude had, I think they were, if I remember right, they were like 1 or 3/4 inch sockets in his ears, and I was like, "Are those fucking sockets?" What the fuck? They're crazy. It was nuts.
Whoa.
So I'll get you out here, man. It's in October every year.
Okay. Yeah, I like slam trucks. I think they're cool, and I like air ride suspension and stuff.
They like unique stuff. Like the more the unique, the better. And I've seen some cool stuff done with like D50s, like from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Some sweet stuff, and a platform that's otherwise kind of unnoticed.
Yeah.
They do some really crazy stuff with the unique builds.
Man, I'm telling y'all, it's a different thing because like it's like the big event for this town in Missouri. It's this little town in Missouri. Like they'll shut down, like the police and everything get involved. They'll shut down Main Street on like the second day, and they'll let them do a drag.
Oh, that's
like they have a line where they run around and they only have them do one truck at a time. But yeah, they'll let them run a drag for as long as people want to guys want to drag. Like I mean, both sidewalks are packed and guys they're just dragging.
I don't really talk about my time in mini trucking because my buddy was so deep that we'd cruise around in his truck, and at the time it was because of where we live, it was like a really tight-knit community of mini truckers, so you didn't see them very often until they all got together. So when you're driving around a little mini truck, and my buddy had 1/2-inch fast valves in his little Mazda B2200, and we'd be sitting at a light, and he always drove with the front end all the way up, and then we'd be at a light and somebody would look over, like somebody who didn't really understand the mini trucking shit, and they look over and be like, what the hell? And he'd go, and the thing would just drop hard, and people would from the outside looking in, they probably thought, oh, he just broke his shit. Like, it's so bad. It sounded so violent, just psh, boom. And one time, I don't remember what happened. He had a buddy build part of his truck because he ended up body dropping it, and it would he would open the door. They had to, when they body dropped it, he had to cut part of the door, the bottom of the door, and when you opened it, it's like against the ground, dude. It was so ridiculous. But we're driving to a car show, and we're going through downtown Seattle, and the truck lost all its air, and it laid frame on the freeway at 60 miles an hour, dude, and almost got him killed. I was in the support vehicle in the back, and I saw this shit happen, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, definitely not the safest vehicles on the road, but it was fun. He would drop it and taking out the road reflectors. Called them turtles, and you'd see like a bunch of dead reflectors on the side of the road. Oh,
Coffee, I have a love affair of your van. Like, I love that.
Back
van.
off. Back the hell off.
Listen here, son.
Dude, I want that van so bad.
That's okay. I want that Challenger he's selling too. So I mean,
okay, all right.
I'll probably buy the van instead, just to piss you off. But
I am from Washington.
I am from Arkansas.
And Blake is from Louisiana. Time for a van auction.
Dang.
Time for a van auction.
I've been looking for you, Chris, on the down low already.
So the 23rd is when I find out if Facebook's going to pay me out. I already found another van. I actually have some people have reached out to me about vans, but I found one that is almost identical to the one I just sold, with the exception of it doesn't have the big door in the back. I can't tell if it's the same color or not, or if it's like a burgundy, but it's got a rebuilt 360 in it and it runs and drives. I don't want to say the price on here, because if my buddy that I sold my van to, I don't want him to think I ripped him off, because I really didn't. This van is just a really good deal. I told the guy that I'm expecting some money, and I shouldn't admit this here. I was already negotiating with him, and I was already able to chop him down on the price a little bit, so we're gonna get a good deal. And I kept a lot of shit for that van, and one thing that's funny that I kept, it was at $5,500. And I said, I'll sell it to you for $5,000, but I get to keep the floor mats, because I had these custom, I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they're like old school rubber floor mats for vans, and they'll say Dodge, and they'll have like a cartoony van on them. They're pretty popular. Well, there was a guy, I think the guy passed away. I think that's a story. And if I remember right, his Instagram handle was Custom Van Man or Custom Van Guy or something like that. And I had him make me a set of floor mats for my van, and they're specific for 78. And I really didn't want to get rid of them, because I spent hundreds of dollars on them. And I was like, what are they worth to me? I was like, they're worth $500, because I don't know if I can get another set very easily. So I kept them, and I'm like, all right, now I need to find a 78. And this one that I found just happens to be a 78. So, and it's in better shape as far as rust goes than mine is. And I negotiated a pretty good deal. And I said, if I get this cash in my hand, I will buy that van from you, sir. So, and it's just in Oregon, so it's not too far away.
I looked, the only thing I found down here, even in the realm, were 78s, camper vans. That's the only thing I could find. Like,
lots of camper vans.
Bro, I want a camper van so bad. You know what I want? I just want an old Dodge camper. Like, do you guys remember that green and white one I found in Oklahoma?
Yes.
A while back?
I
wanted that thing so bad. My wife said no, but it was like $1,200 and it ran.
Mm-hmm.
Ran and drove.
Dutch guys, how dare you not tell me about that? You bastard. Oh. This guy, I blame him for my newfound love for those Malays Mopars. Yeah, I'm having withdrawals of two things: vans and tin grills. But I can only have one, and I really want to build a van because I'm friends with Matt from Rolling Heavy Magazine, and I told him, I was like, dude, if I get a van, I'm going to build it, and I want to be in Rolling Heavy Magazine. I think that would be so sick. Actually, as a matter of fact, I got the latest issue right here, Rolling Heavy.
Nice.
We roll heavy around here. Shout out to Matt from Rolling Heavy Magazine.
It's ridiculous. I specifically keep a lookout for things like that because, I mean, they're cool, right? Tin grills and vans around here in the South, man, I hardly ever see any of that.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
we'll see the first gen Rams, like, so what, the 80 through 93, 92,
Sure.
all
But
the
just
time.
got-
Like, they're everywhere. But the
I
tin
mean-
grills, no.
but like that first gen of Rams, that was the work truck. That was the work truck. So I mean, you got a lot of guys that had them for. I mean, and you rarely see a short bed down here. It's all long beds and work trucks. Like that's what they did. They worked for their whole life until they got parked somewhere. So I mean, I think that's why we see such a disconnect with us being in the South, Blake, because we see more farm trucks and stuff like that. We're not seeing vans and like tin grills and whatnot. Like we're seeing mostly the work stuff. I get excited every now and then when I come across, because I mean, you guys know I blow Blake up all the time. Anytime I find a crew cab, swept line, or anything within striking distance of me, I'm blowing Blake up. I'm like, here you go.
And do not stop. Keep them coming.
Man, we're gonna settle on one of these days.
We're gonna find one. Yeah. So that swept line. Remember, I've talked about it several times. That kind of maroon copper colored crew cab Swepty that I talked about. It used to be a Firefly promotional truck. Did I ever tell you about that, Chris? I thought I did.
The Firefly promotion. So that thing rings a bell.
Not like that horrible beach fest where people,
the Firefly Festival.
not that
Fire Festival, yeah.
But there's this Firefly. I think it's a vodka, and it tastes like sweet tea. It's an alcohol. I think it's a vodka.
I know what you're talking about. Like,
you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Well, I mean, I worked restaurants for a while and bartended too, so yeah, I know what you're talking about. We sold some of it. It was awful stuff.
It was, dude, I want to say in the mid 2000s. It was a fad, man. Everybody was drinking this stuff. So we had a guy here local that was somehow associated with the distillery, and he had a promotional truck. I was a mechanic at the time for one of the speed shops in Baton Rouge, greater Baton Rouge area. And I remember coming in one day and just seeing this beautiful, like I said, it was like a copperish, maroonish color, very much like the color of tea, right?
Oh, shit.
And on the side, it had the Firefly logos across the doors, right? Pretty large white letters. Inside, the seats, the bench seats, were custom upholstered and embroidered with Firefly. And I think it had a 440 big block in it. And we were doing like a gear vendor swap, maybe some AC work on it. But I fell in love with this truck. It was gorgeous. So I'm scrolling Facebook about 3 weeks ago. The truck is still in the area. It was on Marketplace for sale for 28 G's, and it's still immaculate.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that. I responded to that. I was like, hey, I don't know how long you've owned this truck, but I've worked on it at one time. It's so cool
crazy
to see it. And the guy's like, oh yeah, that was me. I had it built, and I enjoy it, but now it's just kind of time to let it go. So it's crazy to see something like that. The logos were stripped from the door. I guess the vinyl decal, that's not there anymore, but you can still see to this day the bench seats are still embroidered. It says Firefly. It's kind of real cool backstory.
That's pretty awesome.
Speaking of trucks, that swept line, that thing, I didn't realize how nasty it was. Like, how the fuck that? If you guys watched the Mecum auction, there was a crew cab Swepty that went through on the block, and it pulled 100,000. And Dutch guys,
I thought it was
Dustin-
more than that. I thought
it was over. I'm underestimating. It was 600, or not 600, but six figures.
I think it was like 200,000 or
Yeah, it was something like that. It went over 100 grand.
I think
know
it was
that much.
301. I think it was
God.
301.
God, that somebody's gotta be pissed.
Dutch said, "Did you see the floors?" And joking with him, I said, "Yeah, I don't even remember welding them. It looked so bad." I was like, "Who the fuck bought that thing for that much money?" I mean, I suppose if you got that much money, you're like, "I'll just have the floors fixed."
Well,
But
also
He's
when
there.
you're
I've
bidding,
seen the
when
truck
you're
in
bidding on
person.
it from halfway across the auditorium and it's on the stage.
you get to preview this shit. You get to look at them.
No,
So-
guys, I've seen that truck in person. It was parked next to me at the Mopar show at Cruising the Coast, and it has driven up next to me, walked around it. I mean, I didn't pull up floor mats or anything like that, but man, walking around, that truck was beautiful. Like it was a nice truck just walking around. I mean, I didn't give it a 28-point inspection or anything, but just being honest, like I could see how, someone would want to put that much money up for it because, just at first glance, the truck is gorgeous.
It reminded me of something you would see at SEMA. I saw a lot of nice stuff at SEMA, and then you get up really close and start looking at the detail stuff, and you're like, whoa.
Bro, did you ever follow SEMA Fails on Facebook?
I don't think I need to. I've seen the welds on some.
Well, that's true. You've been there, so you've seen them. But
I've seen some sketch. I've seen bolts that weren't tight on these giant lifted trucks, and I'm like, that bolt is coming loose. Like I felt uncomfortable because there was a couple times where I was recording and I was like, all right, don't zoom in on that. But looking back, I should have called people out on their bullshit. Like, how are you going to bring this to one of the biggest events of the year?
Bro, it's bad when SEMA themselves goes, all right, you have an extra year when they canceled for COVID, and they literally released a statement going, you have an extra year, don't bring a pile of shit.
Yeah.
So we as automotive enthusiasts, especially before you get into the industry, we build it up as just, it's the end all be all, right? I guess because maybe the exclusivity of it, how not just everybody can go, which that changes this year. Everybody can go.
Yeah.
To this, was it SEMA Fest they call it, the show after.
It really is an event you kind of have to go to at least once.
I still want to go. I still want to go witness it, but you build it up in your mind as one thing, and then you start peeling back the layers, right? And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I
That's
think
not
what
I
gets.
expected.
I think what builds it up so much for a lot of folks is like any modern automotive show, like any of the newer automotive shows, like we got to do the SEMA build. And that's like the big thing they're working on. They're slamming and just wrenching and getting it together. So you're like, oh my God, this has got to be like the thing, So I'm with you, Blake, but I think that's what really helps, like the exclusivity of it, or what used to be the exclusivity of it, and then you have all these shows that these guys that aren't really in the meat of being a car guy, they just really like to watch the shows, and they're like, I gotta be involved. I gotta go. How do I go so I can see this in person?
Yeah, no, 100%.
The sheer mass of it is very impressive, and I'm not putting it down in any way, but it's just kind of funny how the more you learn about some of the builds, it's still great for networking, still great to meet a lot of companies and find out what new things are on the market. But
I'll say
the builds, like you say, you see the fails and it's like
bad. Yeah, I will say this for the builds where I was just like, oh man, are you really proud bringing that here? There were some builds where I was like, oh my God, the ingenuity and the creativity and a lot of stuff that you see is really off the chain. One thing that I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I did, and I didn't have enough time to really enjoy it, was going into obviously the halls, but seeing the new products, that was a lot of fun. But the tools, seeing the cool tools and stuff that they offered for the industry, I was like, God, I wish I had more time to just chill and look at these tools up close, because there was a lot of cool stuff happening in the area with all the vinyl wraps and stuff. Guys were live vinyl wrapping, showing techniques and stuff. That was super cool. If I hadn't been so focused on getting content, because that's what I went there for, I would have been able to enjoy it a little bit more. And there were some builds I really wanted to take a look at that I didn't get a chance to. Like, they had quite a few DeLoreans there, and I don't know why. It's got to be the movie that I want to Hemi swap a DeLorean.
Dude, that's your hot and heavy thing to Hemi swap.
Dude, there's a bunch of non-Mopars I want to Hemi swap, but I'll need help. You know what I mean? I'll need an engineer and a guy with a Hemi swap company.
Like that.
Hell yeah.
All the things.
Yes.
Fellas, I hate to dip out, but fun. I gotta get up in a few hours, like just a couple hours.
All right, buddy, go to bed. We've been at it for over an hour. Yeah. I'm gonna keep Blake for a few more minutes, though.
Right on. Blake, it's good seeing you, buddy. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. I look forward to seeing everybody Muscle Cars at the Strip.
Hell yeah, dude. We're happy that you're coming.
Oh, we're gonna have a time.
Hell yeah. Matt from Big Blocks Garage, go follow his podcast, go listen to it, go follow him on social media. And hey, watch and listen to our paranormal show on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Pacific. And we talk all sorts of crazy stuff. He's my co-host on that show.
It gets a little weird.
Oh, it gets weird.
But we drop some facts.
Yeah, we get into some strange, that's for sure.
And that's before Vegas.
That's before, man. If you ain't, I'm excited now. Man, you guys are gonna have a good time.
Chris already knows I don't have a filter. Like, I'll just say whatever pops up into my head.
That's the beautiful. That's the beautiful part.
Okay, I got you. I'll tell this one story real fast.
Nice.
And some of these guys might have seen it. Chris and I road tripped to Moparty together, and Chris throughout the drive live streamed. And I was driving. I would talk a little bit on it and everything. And we got to talking about affording our Mopar projects and stuff. And I was like, you know what? If there was a market for me on OnlyFans, I'd be on there. I'd be like, I show my chocolate starfish. I ain't proud of it, but here it is. I swear to God, if he had been driving, we would have died. We would have died.
Oh my God, that made me. I was crying laughing. It was so funny.
I mean, we almost still died because I started crying. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. I mean, hey. You don't want to know what I do for a real wing car. I was criticizing a lot of the Mopar prices at Mecum, but when I found out that the lime green or the limelight Hemi Superbird was like one of two known to exist, man, I was like, all right, I see why it went for multiple six figures.
Chris was like, I ain't gay, but a wing car's a wing car.
A wing car's a wing car.
Jeez.
I can afford the counseling. I can afford it. I'll go to the jungle and do some ayahuasca and forget all about it.
All right. Well, everybody, it's been great. Brother. I love you all. Have a good night.
We'll see you later. All right, buddy.
Bye, bud.
Mopar cruise to Area 51. That's right up Talking Mopar's alley. And Talking Paranormal's alley, actually, too. Blake. For a couple minutes, let's talk about the shift that you did from DIY Hemi to Sublime Technologies.
Mm-hmm.
What was behind the name change? Let's be transparent here.
Oh, just being completely honest, it was hard. DIY Hemi had been around since I think it really gained traction in 2015, 2014 as a brand, as a recallable name.
Mm-hmm.
It really started, I'd say, like further back than that, 2010, 2011, right? It was hard to separate from that name, but ultimately, I'll tell you, it was because as we're moving on and progressing, and we wanted to solidify ourselves, right? We wanted to actually be able to copyright and just patent our ideas and our logo. We went and applied with the U.S. Patent Office, and they just straight up said, no way in hell could you copyright DIY Hemi as your logo, because Hemi is within the name, it's embedded in the name, and it's owned by Chrysler. So the patent attorneys basically told us, you guys got to get a new name. And it was upsetting, right? Because we felt like it was a name that most people could just understand immediately what we were about. helping people do these swaps, right? So it's like, man, you put your heart and soul into something, you work it up, you develop it into something that hopefully helps the community, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh man, we have to change, you know. So what do we do, you know? Sublime is still, it hits home, right? It's the color that we know and love. But if you look at the root of it, sublime from a definition standpoint means excellence, right? And that's one thing we always wanted to do, is provide an excellent resource for these things, for these engine swaps. If you look at the stuff that we make, the stuff that we put out, and even just the service, we really try to just do it old school, above and beyond, you know?
Yeah.
If someone calls, I'll tell you right now, Chris, I'll help just about anybody. If you're respectful and you're not, you know, just like bashing the crap out of us while we're trying to help you. Then like, I have so many customers, I call them customers, clients, what have you, that have never bought a thing from me. I don't care. They're sharing their projects with me. They're getting these cars out on the road. Many of them go out and they'll buy the Mopar crate harness, you know, the crate engine, the crate harness, everything, all the bits and pieces. And they get it in, they read the installation manual, and they're like, I don't even know where to begin. You know, what does this mean? You know, unfortunately, as much as we love Mopar, I'm still a huge fan. Like, I think they have great stuff. The customer support on that level just doesn't exist. I mean, you can't go to your dealership and say, all right, so I'm installing this Mopar performance part, you know, I'm installing this engine, I'm installing this engine management system and wiring harness, ECM, all this stuff. And it won't do this, it won't do anything. Where do I start? I mean, most technicians, especially the younger generation of technicians that just haven't been exposed to it, you know, it's not their fault. They don't even know how to help, even though they may want to. No, I don't want to take that away from, you know, the dealerships and their techs. They have some great people out there, but a high majority are, you know, people young off in their career, just getting started, and they may not have the background because, you know, sometimes it takes a blend of knowing old school and new school to merge them together. It's simple stuff, right? So, I say simple. It's simple. Somebody just has to tell you, right? It's just informing people. So I think this week alone, there must have been 6 guys that I helped.
Wow.
I've never bought anything from. I don't care. Like, they're showing me pictures of their builds, and I'm like, oh man, I got to see this. I absolutely have to see this, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way. That's the way we do business. You know, we want to build cool stuff that people need. We want to make it easier for people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about helping the community and helping people enjoy their vehicles.
100%. And that's why, like, I love small businesses, because you don't, like you said, you don't get the support from these. I mean, if you call Mopar, see how many, see how quick you get answers. And like you're saying, I went to a dealership and I went to their parts department and I was like, how do you guys feel about the power brokers stuff? Is this going to be a power broker dealership? And they're like, what's that? And I was like,
no clue.
Huh?
Like, no clue.
Yeah. And most of those techs, as hardworking as they are, respect to those guys. To most of those guys, they're not like us. They're not like the guys watching this show right now or listening to the show, the guys and gals. They're not hardcore Mopar enthusiasts. That's a job to them. They don't have that passion. Some of them do. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely them out there.
My parts guy, Jason, at my local dealership, that's my buddy. Like,
okay.
He is so cool. He's like, man, check out he's got I think like a 03 Ram. And he's just like, I'm going to, swap it. And I want to take it on drag week. And
nice.
He's my guy that, everybody needs an inside guy. I'm like, Jason, look, I'm looking for something like this. You got to get creative sometimes in problem solving, and let's say a specific installation needs like a type of hose, right?
Yeah.
I'll call them up. I'm like, have you ever seen a part that looks like this? You know, if it's a hose, like this diameter, you know, Z shape, whatever. And he's like, oh man, the new Dart has that. Like he'll find it. It's like old school parts guys from back in the day.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I love him to death. He's absolutely cool. They got some really good help out there. There's also, like you said, the ones that are there for a paycheck. But
yeah, those guys are the ones that should be in the parts department, and they need more guys like that out in the shop. I just don't think, you know, I suppose it really just boils down to obviously the individuals and
the owners of the dealership.
That too. You know, I've seen, like, I'm pretty sure the owner of one of the local dealerships here is a Mopar enthusiast because he has a bunch of cool classic Mopars and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like when I go to that place, I expect when I go to the parts department, you know, that they're going to know some stuff. And I don't have any faith in a lot of the local Dodge dealers and stuff that I've experienced. I haven't run across any hardcore Mopar enthusiasts. Funny enough, though, one of my close friends here works at a Honda dealership, and as it turns out, somebody at his show, because my friend has a Dodge truck and he's got two of the stickers on the back, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy goes, talking Mopars, right? And he works at a Honda dealership, and he's like, yeah. And he goes, oh, I listen to that show all the time. I follow that guy. And my buddy's like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah, he's one of my best friends. My buddy tells him, and he's like, really? So it's like small world. So that was cool. But that's an enthusiast who just happens to work at a Honda dealership now. So I think that's kind of funny.
So I will say this. I learned a lot more about the power broker setup, I think, than most people have the pleasure to know or be exposed to. So locally, I have some really good friends. Matt at Demon Motorsports. He's a late model Chrysler speed shop, right?
Okay.
He's got a little shop in town. Really close friends. Been knowing him for, well over 20 plus years. He was approached by the local dealership because the owner and a lot of the lead salesmen and managers reach out to him to get their vehicles spiced up, right? Mm-hmm. And so, they approached him one day and they're like, hey, we're thinking about doing this power broker thing. Would you join us? Would you come work at the dealership as like our head technician for power brokers? And he thought about it for a while, because obviously in your own business, there's a lot of freedoms.
Oh yeah.
A lot of freedoms. But in that process, the owners actually had asked him, and he came to me and we worked on it together. Like, what is a power broker? Even as a dealer, as a manager of a dealership, they didn't fully know like what it entailed. I guess internally there's not a lot of great communication, from the manufacturer of Dodge and Chrysler to the dealerships. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation with Dave up at Roseville Mopars. It's a dealership up in Detroit.
Yeah,
I've been knowing him for a while, and he just kind of like laid it out there. Yeah, we're a power broker, and this is what has to take place. And at one point in time, when they first announced this power broker, this dealership, this ability to get this status, they were saying that it's like a high multitude, like 90% have to be performance certified technicians in your shop.
Oh,
right. And so they actually have to take classes, and they have to learn more in-depth aspects of diagnostics and how to improve power and performance of these things. I heard some people say 100%. I'm not sure why the guy that does tire rotations and oil changes, would be sent to the school. But if so, that's even cooler, right? That's how you get the young blood in to get excited. Yeah. But a power broker dealership, for the most part, they look out for the enthusiasts that want to make this stuff fast and still have a factory warranty. So my friend Matt, as of 2 weeks ago, accepted. So he still has his own personal business, and he's just going to do a lot of local tuning and some more project jobs, I guess you would say, like take on one client at a time as an individual. Yeah. But so they have the Dodge dealership right here in Baton Rouge is going, I think it's the only one now. Yeah, it's going for its power broker status.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't mind living close to a dealership like that.
was pumped for him. I'm just like,
Hell yeah.
man, like this is phenomenal because you're going to be able to get inside information in a direct line to how things work and cut down some of the barriers. And I mean, that's really why those guys in the LS world have exploded into popularity. Everybody shares everything.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
how much is that lacking in the Hemi community?
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. It's getting so much better, I would say, in the last 3 to 4 years. It's getting so much better. People are excited to share. In the beginning, it was like, how would you say it was like a little club, right? If you figured it out and you got it done, you were in the club, and you like, it was like this thing like, oh, don't share. Like, it's a badge of courage. If you figure it out, then you belong in the club, and then you're cool. But we're not going to really reach out and help too many people get here.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, but that's one thing we really wanted to open up, like a can of worms. Is like, nah, man, like everybody in.
Hell yeah.
Everybody. Like the look at the performance catalog. You know, it's got offerings, but people often don't even know how to use them. You know, they say, oh, crate engine. Let me get the crate engine. You know, pull it out of the catalog. Or maybe they just go get a pullout from a reg vehicle and they say, okay, now what do I need? And even the catalog doesn't really tell you, you know, it doesn't say, hey, this is the crate engine. You're going to need this wire harness kit. You're going to need this accessory kit. Depending on your vehicle, you're going to need this oil pan. You know, it just really doesn't go into that depth. It's just like kind of, hey, here, you figure it out.
Yeah, that's a problem. I'm the type of guy that make it easy for me, so I can just go and go.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
and it is easy. I mean, I've lived on both sides of the world. I've lived in the LS market. I worked a lot of speed ship shops in our area are LS based.
Mm-hmm.
I did that since they came out. You know, 99, 2000s. I worked on them. I'll tell you right now, from a very high level, there is no installation difference between a Hemi and an LS. It is just as easy.
Yeah.
The basics are identical. And you see how much people mark up, oh, just drop LS in it, just drop LS in it. And people don't realize they can get a more powerful, better breathing Hemi and do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah, man. Gosh. I don't know. There's just something about, like, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I love old school stuff. You love old school stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much more that can be done with the Hemi world. And it's still, the Hemi swap industry, we can call it that, I guess, is still in its infancy from what I'm seeing. It's it's so new. Like, how many years do you think the LS swap industry has on the Hemi industry? So you've been in both sides.
To be a heavy hitter, you know, it started simple, but as far as like the explosive, just you see them everywhere. It's been a good 10 years hitting strong, and they still have products coming out every day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know,
is there still massive room for growth in the Hemi swap world for products and stuff? Yeah,
absolutely. You know, kind of look at it like this. Go to any pullet yard, go to any salvage yard, and just walk around. You're going to find Hemis in there. I mean, they were put in, just like the LS, it was put in everything. You know, in some shape or form, the platform was put in everything. You're talking about vans, you're talking about trucks, cars, Jeeps, you know, the SUVs. There were millions of these engines produced. They're easy to get a hold of now. The prices are coming down into the stratosphere. It used to be, man, they were obscene, you know, a 5.7 for $2,500 out of a salvage yard. Man, people are getting them for $500, $450 now, you know, and they're just so readily available. And availability drives the market, right?
Yeah. So
if you can get a 5.7 in really great shape, let's say it's just like spectacularly clean for $1,500 for a powertrain that puts out 395 horsepower, right? You're talking about like a truck 5.7 from 2015, whatever, 2011.
Yeah.
$1,500 for 395 horsepower that you could swap in. And then take a step back and look at the availability of old school Mopar engines. I still love them. I love them to death. But
Yeah.
dude, you can't find a 340 block for $1,500.
No.
You just
Very,
can't.
very hard.
The availability has gone down, right?
Yeah.
So if we really want to support our hobby, we love Mopars, we love these old classic cars. Well, how does that hobby stay alive? More people get exposed to them, more people fall in love with them, right? If you have, I'm going to just say it random, a really common Mopar that people love to see, it's like a Duster, right?
Yeah.
Say you have like a 72 Duster, beautiful car. But if it sits in your garage for 6 years waiting on you to piecemeal and afford to put that 340 together, when you can go practically anywhere, get a drop-in almost 400 horsepower engine and get on the street where people can see it, where you can go to a stoplight and look over and there's a kid eating an ice cream cone and he drops his shit.
Yeah.
Because your car is so cool. That is youth getting involved in the hobby, and they're seeing it, and it's living, and it's breathing, and it's growing. That's how you keep the hobby alive.
100%.
Right? And you bring them in.
Yeah.
They saw that car at that stoplight one day, that intersection, and they go to a car show, and then go look at the ones that are numbers matching with the carbureted engines. Hey, they're cool. That's history. That's great stuff. But if they had never seen that one rolling around on the streets, just tearing it up, getting them enthused, then maybe they would never make that connection when they see one at a car show.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's funny, too, because you talk to some people that are like the old school guys. And one common thing that I hear a lot is, oh, well, it's too much technology, fuel injection and all that. I like carburetors. And it's like, go hit up OCP Performance and get yourself one of those 4-barrel manifolds to throw a carburetor on top of that Gen 3 Hemi. They've got dual quad setups. You can do it's. You can have a lot of fun with a modern Hemi, and I think people are really scared of the price. But I mean, the low buck Hemi truck, you know what I mean? The CUDA, it can be done for a reasonable amount of money.
Oh, absolutely. And I really wish that I'm a huge supporter of horse trading and just doing the old school car guy methods for getting what you need and being resourceful, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, the Hemi and the CUDA, I remember, just starting my family. I had little ones, and it was like, man, I got to get this project on the road, got to get going. And a local salvage yard had that engine. It was a car that had it rolled over. It was a 300C. And I remember like, God, I just want to get this project on the road. Let me hit this guy up and see, what he wants for it. And he was like $2,500 for the engine back then, and which I thought was steep. I didn't know at that point it is as good of a shape as it is, but I just bartered with the guy. I'm like, all right, you try to keep a responsible bank account when you have a family, right? You don't try to just like blow every penny you have. And I remember just approaching him like, all right, how about this? I have $1,500. And I had at the time, I had an old vintage 7-Up, like a glass bottle drink machine,
Yeah.
It was like in my little man cave, and I picked that up for $100 one day, and I just fixed it up. Like I put new light ballasts in it and got it working really well. And it was my beer fridge, but it looked really cool, right? And he looked at me. He's like, "You got pictures?" I sent him some pictures, and he's like, "Sweet, done deal." Just barter. Do what you can and do it the old school way, man. Hey, I got this and this. You want to work a little trade? Sweet.
Yeah.
Get going with it. And that's the cool part is I got the engine home. And when I pulled the starter, I found out it was a reman as well with less than 10,000 miles on it. Yeah. So it was luck, but I mean, if you don't take a little gamble and try to barter and work your way through it, then you're letting yourself down a little bit. Don't get me wrong, super convenient to go buy a crate from Mom Mopar. Super convenient.
Sure.
And I don't discourage it, but it's another area where you can quickly get into a project that sits for years and years if you just don't have the resources. Some people don't have 8-10 grand to drop on a 5.7 or a 6.4 crate that still needs accessories and all this stuff.
Yeah,
you can go get a complete pullout for $1,500 with everything you need but the oil pan on it.
Yeah.
Just be resourceful, and that's the thing. Those LS guys, is as much as we call them like the pumpkin spice latte of engine swaps, those guys are not afraid to get nitty gritty and do some bartering and rub two sticks together and see what happens.
100%. I have this nightmare that eventually, with all the electrification and shit coming out, I get scared that the federal government is going to go, okay, anyone with a vehicle X year and previous, you're going to have to pay an extra tax for driving your old stuff. But then I feel like there's going to be that loophole where, well, if you have a modern engine in it that's a little bit more efficient, then we can bypass that tax. I feel like that's coming down the line. And as a modern Hemi enthusiast, I love them so much. I'm like, if that loophole is going to be there, I can imagine the surge of people going, I'm not going to pay some bullshit tax to, drive my 318 around. I'll go get a 5.7 Hemi and drop it in this thing. So I feel like the potential of growth for the Hemi swap movement is so great that, if you're not completely sold, just do some research. Go to, it's still DIYhemi.com. Go to DIYhemi.com, look into it a little bit. It's not as hard as you would think. And I think a lot of people just, sometimes I think the LS swap world got into their head a little bit, and they're like, I'm not going to try to be like one of those guys. In the Hemi, in the Mopar world, it's like, come on, man, be a little bit more open-minded. But I get the old school guys. I have nothing against the people that are like die hard 440 or 440 or nothing, like our friend Johnny Mopar. Like, it's all good, man.
That's good, man. Do you? Let me drop this thought on you.
Okay.
So we talk about the livelihood of the Hemi swap, the modern Hemi swap in the future. Okay. What has Dodge done recently with, the announcement of electrification and those things, right? It's like, hey, look, yep, we're going electric. I understand they have government mandates that is pretty much forcing them in that direction, more or less. I get it. Okay. But you take a step back and look at what else they've also done. You would think if their company is really, truly sold on electrification more than kind of being forced into it, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, it has its place, right? Why on earth would they not only retain their crate 5.7, 6.4, and 6.2 offerings, but also come out with 4 new levels of the Hellcat and 6.4 crate engine and the Hurricane turbo 6-cylinder ICE engine? They still believe in it, you guys. They're not going to invest all this money in offering 6 new crate engines for us to swap into these cars if they didn't see the potential.
Yeah. No, they know there's potential there. They have to abide by Uncle Sam and the federal government, but as long as they keep producing the crates and stuff, I have high hopes. And you and I have talked about this many times. The wrecking yards are about to be overwhelmed with Hemis. It's going to get to the point where you're going to have to start pulling them as many as you can.
Look at Hellcat prices. They have dropped dramatically because so many people are wrecking those cars. They're more powerful than most people can maintain or handle, right? I mean, I remembered the common price on a pullout. This is 25 grandish, 24, 25 grand for a pullout Hellcat powertrain. Now you're seeing in very, very frequently in the $12,000 to $13,000 range.
Yeah.
With low miles. I've seen them as low as like 7, 8.
Yeah. That's,
so
it's crazy.
It's coming, and the pricing and the availability is only getting better.
Yeah. And there's people that are creating the parts needed to throw a Hellcat supercharger on top of a 5.7. So you can still have a 500-600 horsepower car and have a lot of fun. Not everybody wants to go, 8 seconds in the quarter mile. Some guys just want a nice old car that cruises well. For me, the idea I can jump in my classic Mopar, fire it up, and have no issues or worries driving it 1,000 miles. If Haggerty's listening, I don't drive that much. So I just got my insurance quote today for the Roadrunner. But there's something there that is appealing. That's very appealing to me. And the idea that these modern engines, they're so tunable, and you can do whatever you want with them. You want to leave them NA, leave them NA. You want to supercharge them. You want to throw nitrous at them, you can throw nitrous at them. Turbochargers, throw turbochargers at them. I don't know. I love the modern engines, and I love the classic styling. And, what you do and your purpose, like, you serve that world, perfectly. And that's why I'm such a supporter of what you do. And while I'm, like I said, I'm just a big fan of the Gen 3 Hemis and their, what they stand for, especially because I'm so anti-LS, just because I'm like, Mopars will always be cooler, so why not put a modern Hemi in your car? That's why it's funny when I see these guys swapping LSs into old Mopars, because I'm like, you have to be doing it just to piss people off, because the Hemi will always be the better option. And the only thing that I hear against it is, oh, well, the LSs are so much cheaper. And I'm like, just give it a couple more years when these millions of Hemi powered cars and trucks start hitting the wrecking yards. It's gonna happen. It will happen. They were mass produced. So,
and I bring it all back, man. If we want our hobby to survive, we have to get the vehicles on the road, and we have to enjoy them. Heck, for our sake, what has COVID taught us? We enjoy life.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And getting them on the road and getting out there is ultra important for the hobby. And I really believe that. I want to see this grow. I want to see my kids be able to enjoy this type of stuff. And
absolutely,
if we don't make changes to where we're getting back and getting involved, and not on our couch and our iPads, we're out there cruising the streets and cutting up and having fun with each other. Our hobby is in danger of going away.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, I was at the Mopar show down at Cruising the Coast in Biloxi, that huge event down there. And I remember this beautiful enclosed trailer pulling into the show, right? I think it was one of the members of the club down there. And I mean, it had a very slim chance, maybe a 10% chance of rain that day. And the owner literally pulls his trailer up in the car show and opens up the side door and the back door so that people could see the car inside the trailer. The car never made it out. It was meticulously restored later B body. I think it was a yellow car. Again, from where I was standing and just walking by, I couldn't even see what it was because it was in the trailer. You had to go look in the trailer at what it was. Yeah. I think it was a Super B, but again, how does that do our passion in our community any justice? And people need to see them and enjoy them and feel them. And they talk about you'll never forget the experience of a big block. Okay, well, we'll drive it.
Yeah,
drive it. Let the ground shake from the torque. Like, let people feel choked up in their throat. Right, the grounds that people levy towards when they talk about big blocks. And that simple answer is, they're either just too afraid something's going to happen to it, or maybe the cost of fuel is too much, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about that with the Hemi swap. You just throw it in, you go enjoy the hell out of it. Right? Yeah. And I just worry about that. I have the utmost respect for those rotisserie restored cars and the amount of care the owners put into them. I just have concerns that when those individuals pass on, someone's gonna what's the old saying? It's like, not driving your car is like saving your wife for her second marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of get baffled. I'm like, man, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let people see it. Keep the enthusiasm alive. Keep the hobby alive. Get out there.
100%. I think that's a good spot to end, but I do want to ask you another question. Lance brings up a good point, but before we get to Lance's point, well, actually, let's talk about this really quick. A lot of people, another contention is all the sensors and all the modern tech in these engines. How reliable really are they? I think they're pretty reliable from what, from my experience.
Okay, so my question to that is, it's a simple scenario, right? You're at your house, your family's 1,000 miles away, right? And they're in danger. And in your driveway is an old school and a modern pickup truck. Which one are you taking to go save your family?
100%. Yeah.
Right. We drive these things every day. They are manufactured with the utmost reliability. I mean, look, anything mechanical can fail. It's true.
Yeah.
Every single sensor on these engines, which they're not really that many, every single fuel injector, every single component undergoes very strenuous cycle testing, right? And that's why I'm such a huge supporter of utilizing factory components like a factory ECM, factory engine management, because these cars are beat to death and put through any single condition you could imagine before the first model rolls off the assembly line.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I have so many engines that have 100, 200,000 miles on them. I'll just pull them, I don't know, I'll put it in something one day, and they'll fire right the hell up. I mean, it's just really think about that. To say that we don't believe in engines with sensors and all those actions, electronics, if you will, is like saying that we don't believe a modern car is reliable enough to drive cross country.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, the LX platform has ran for so long that if you ran the numbers, it's probably one of the most reliable vehicles on the road.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why not much was changed, so I'm definitely on board with you, and I definitely would jump in the modern truck to go save my family that's 1,000 miles away. It's true.
It's very dramatic, right? It's like over embellished a little bit, but
sure,
it's true, right? It's true.
Yeah, no, 100%. Josh, Blake is the owner of Sublime Technologies, formerly known as DIY Hemi. He's a modern Hemi swap guru and an engineer who's much smarter than me, and I'm very happy to be friends with him because I can ask him questions and he can teach me things. And we've got big fun Hemi stuff planned for the future, so I can't wait for us to get the ball rolling on that. But that's for a different time and a different show. Blake, thank you for joining myself and Matt. And man, Muscle Cars at the Strip is going to be a lot of fun, dude. I'm so excited. I'm glad we got Matt on board. We were talking earlier. It's like the first time that the Motley crew is going to be all together, not to mention with an entire slew of people we know and people that we're friends with. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And for anybody that's got questions about Mopars and modern Hemi swaps, Blake's the guy. Good. I mean, you can try calling Mom Mopar. You can try calling Holly. I'm not saying anything bad about either of them, but Blake likes to help people, and he's one of my best friends. So thank you, Blake, and thank
you.
Hemi swap the world.
That's it.
Hell yeah, man.
The world.
Thanks again, brother, and I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow or something.
Oh, for sure we will. Have a good night, man.
All right, brother. Hey, go get a couple hours of sleep. All right.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man. We'll see you later. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Remember, no Mopar left behind. Hemi swap the world. There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about the show, you know where to go, talkingmopars.com. And you can reach me by emailing Chris at talkingmopars.com or by leaving me a voicemail on my voicemail box at 28 Mopar, and you just might get to hear yourself on the show. So keep sharing those Mopar stories with me and anything else that is on your Mopar addicted mind. Special thanks to my friends at DIYHemi.com. For those of you that don't know, Blake has rebranded DIY Hemi, so although the website is still DIYHemi.com, DIY Hemi is now Sublime Technologies. So if you've been considering swapping a modern Gen 3 Hemi into your classic Mopar, then reach out to Sublime Technologies, get a hold of Blake, and tell them that I sent you. Blake has supported me from the beginning of this show, and I also support him in his mission to Hemi swap the world. Also, don't forget how important it is to keep your Mopar protected from the elements. If you need protection, don't wait. Head on over to TalkingMopars.com, click on the Affiliates tab, and go get your Mopar covered today. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.